All India Radio presents Morning News. Good morning, I'm Sunil Verma and with me is Vaibhav Jyotsna Srivastav. The headlines. Ashok Gehlot-led Congress government in Rajasthan plunges into crisis after Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot declares open rebellion. Home Minister Amit Shah praises security forces for their efforts to fight COVID-19 in the country. Uttar Pradesh government issues guidelines to start next academic session in state universities. Undergraduate classes to begin from October 1st. Jammu and Kashmir government issues guidelines for arrival of tourists in the Union territory. Tourism sector to open in phased manner from tomorrow. And Income Tax Department launches tool for banks to ascertain TDS applicability rates on cash withdrawals. Ashok Gehlot-led Congress government in Rajasthan has plunged into crisis after Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot declared open rebellion. Mr. Pilot claims that the Gehlot government has been reduced to minority as over 30 Congress MLAs are supporting him. In a statement, Mr. Pilot said some independent MLAs have pledged their support to him. Mr. Pilot said he will not attend the Congress Legislature Party meeting scheduled to be held today. Mr. Pilot had been incommunicado for about 2 days. Pilot supporters said he is camping in Delhi and is upset over the notice sent to him by Rajasthan police. The notice from the Special Operations Group SOG has sought time from him to record a statement on an alleged plot to topple the Gehlot government. Pilot supporters say the notice is meant to humiliate him. Mr. Gehlot had on Saturday alleged that the opposition BJP is trying to lure Congress MLAs to topple the state government. The BJP has dismissed the claim, saying the recent developments only reflected a power struggle between Mr. Gehlot and Mr. Pilot. More from our correspondent.
The Congress has 107 MLAs in the 200-member assembly. It also has the support of 2 CPIM MLAs, 2 MLAs from the Bharatiya Tribal Party and 1 MLA of RLD. On the other hand, BJP has 72 MLAs and has the support of 3 MLAs of the Rashtriya Loktantrik Party. The House has 13 independent MLAs. However, there is a considerable difference in the number of MLAs of the two parties. But if 30 MLAs go with Sachin Pilot, then there may be difficulties for the Gehlot government. In this contest, next 10 hours will be important for Rajasthan's power equation. Jitendra Dwivedi, AIR News, Jaipur.
Home Minister Amit Shah has praised security forces for their efforts to fight COVID-19 in the country. He said India is one of the most populous countries. Everyone thought, how will a country like India battle COVID-19? There were apprehensions, but today the whole world is witnessing how one of the most successful battles against COVID-19 has been fought here. Mr. Shah said in India's battle against COVID-19, all of our security forces are playing a huge role. He said our security forces have proved that they not only know how to fight terrorism, but also against the pandemic with the help of people.
आपने एक नया उदाहरण देश और दुनिया के सामने रखा है कि आप सिर्फ सुरक्षा की चिंता नहीं करते, आतंकवाद के खिलाफ सिर्फ लड़ना नहीं जानते, आप लोगों से कंधा मिलाकर कोरोना के खिलाफ भी लड़ाई इतनी मुस्तैदी के साथ लड़ रहे हैं.
Mr. Shah said India is on a strong pedestal in the fight against COVID-19 under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi with the motto, One People, One Thought, One Nation. Home Minister was addressing an all-India tree plantation campaign run by the Central Armed Police Forces in Gurugram yesterday. Mr. Shah said the nationwide CAPF tree plantation drive has set a target of 1.37 crore saplings. He said we should harness natural resources and not exploit them. The Home Minister said, however, today due to consumerism, this balance has been disturbed and as a result, we are facing the challenge of climate change and global warming. Emphasizing on the important role played by trees in reducing pollution, Mr. Shah said that various varieties of saplings have been chosen in this plantation drive such as Peepal, Jamun, Neem, Vatvriksha, Bargad, based on their oxygen-giving capability and abilities to survive in different seasons. Saplings were also planted by the Jawans of Central Armed Police Forces in Chhattisgarh. The personnel of BSF, CRPF, ITBP and CISF deployed in Chhattisgarh for the anti-Naxal operations planted saplings in their respective campuses as well as in their places of deployment. The Inspector General of Border Security Force, GSND Prasad, said that by planting saplings, paramilitary forces are also playing their role in preserving and promoting the environment as well as to check the pollution and save the earth.
देश में हर जगह पर ग्रीन एनवायरनमेंट लाने के लिए उसके लिए एक टास्किंग मिला सभी सीएपीएफ को कि अपनी अपने जगह पर जहां पर भी वो डिप्लॉयड हैं वहां पर पौधे वगैरह प्लांट करने के लिए तो हमको प्लांट करना है 54,300 प्लांट्स। कांकेर में हम डिप्लॉयड हैं वहां पर पूरा लगेंगे। इसके अलावा जहां बटालियन हेडक्वार्टर्स हैं कहीं राजस्थान में हैं कहीं पुणे में हैं बरेली में हैं वहां पर भी वृक्षारोपण चलेगा।
In Tamil Nadu, complete lockdown in Madurai has been extended for 2 more days till Tuesday night. Originally, it was planned till yesterday. Authorities said the brief extension is aimed at screening more people through the ongoing fever camps so that the intensity of the COVID-19 spread in the city could be reduced. State Health Department said an order for the purchase of 43,000 finger pulse oximeters has been placed. The state tally of COVID-19 has crossed 138,000 with 4,244 people confirmed positive today. More from our correspondent.
Doctors say finger pulse oximeters are considered crucial for monitoring the blood oxygen saturation level in COVID-19 patients. There are thousands of active and asymptomatic patients under home isolation and in COVID care centers. Doctors emphasize that when their oxygen saturation level falls below the threshold of 95, they need specialized medical care in hospitals. Therefore, the State Health Department is deploying more number of them, not only for monitoring the health of patients, but also to screen the people with suspected infection who come for the fever camps. The camps are being organized in Chennai and Madurai and other places where the caseload is more. Jai Singh, AR News, Chennai.
In Bihar, fresh complete lockdown has been imposed in Sitamarhi district and extended in 3 districts of Navada, Buxar and Supaul due to an alarming rise in COVID-19 cases. With this, lockdown is continuing in 19 districts across the state. Lockdown has been imposed in Sitamarhi district for 8 days till July 20th. Lockdown has been extended till July 15th in Navada and Supaul. On the other hand, in Buxar, lockdown will be up to July 17th. Except essential services, all activities have been stopped in lockdown areas. For conveyance, public transport is allowed. However, private vehicles are limited to essential works only. Train and flight services have been allowed. Meanwhile, a record number of 1,266 positive cases were reported during the last 24 hours. This is the highest number in a single day. Recovery rate in Bihar stands at over 73%. 125 people have died so far due to corona in the states. In Uttar Pradesh, restrictions imposed on the night of 10 July ended this morning. All markets, offices and other activities remained closed during this 54-hour-long restriction period. From now on, the markets and other official institutions will open only for 5 days and restrictions will be in place for the remaining 2 days of the week. This step was taken in the wake of growing cases of COVID-19 in the state. Our correspondent reports special sanitation drive will be launched on weekends in the state.
Under the special sanitation campaign launched on 11th and 12th July during restriction period, cleaning and fogging were done in more than 77,000 villages and 9,000 urban wards. Efforts for early identification of COVID patients continue in the state. Door-to-door medical screening campaign, which was launched in the districts of Meerut division on 2nd of July, ended yesterday. Same campaign will continue in 17 other divisions till 15th of July. Around 160,000 surveillance teams have surveyed more than 6 crore people. Continuing with its efforts to increase daily COVID testing capacity, the state has achieved the benchmark of testing 40,000 samples per day. Together with Tamil Nadu, UP is the only state to breach the 40,000 mark. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Jammu and Kashmir, restrictions on public movement and activities are being imposed in 88 areas notified as COVID-19 red zones in Srinagar after a sharp spike in cases in the district. Srinagar District Magistrate Shahid Iqbal Chaudhary ordered sealing off of all these 88 red zones. Authorities have been directed to disallow any movement and activities in these areas. No one will be allowed to move in or out of these areas. The DM has also issued orders for strictest punishments under the Disaster Management Act and other relevant provisions of the law to those violating preventive guidelines. The fine for face mask violations has been enhanced to 1,000 rupees, whereas the violation of social distancing guidelines in red zones will be 10,000 rupees. Union Sports Minister Kiran Rijiju will hold discussions with sports ministers of all states and union territories from tomorrow to figure a way forward as sporting activities begin to resume amid the gradual lifting of the COVID-19 lockdown. The two-day online meeting will review the action taken during the pandemic and discuss resumption of sporting activities at the state level, along with identification of budding talent through competitions at block and district levels. Mr. Rijiju said the country is in the second phase of unlock now, and it is important to have a dialogue with the states to align the way forward for sports and youth-related activities. The two-day meet will also deliberate on plans to conduct Khelo India events and youth festivals later this year or early next year. You are listening to the morning news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Ashok Gehlot-led Congress government in Rajasthan plunges into crisis after Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot declares open rebellion. Home Minister Amit Shah praises security forces for their efforts to fight COVID-19 in the country. Uttar Pradesh government issues guidelines to start the next academic session in state universities, undergraduate classes to begin from October 1st. Jammu and Kashmir government issues guidelines for arrival of tourists in the Union Territory. Tourism sector to open in a phased manner from tomorrow. And the Income Tax Department launches tool for banks to ascertain TDS applicability rates on cash withdrawals. For quick news updates around the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
Uttar Pradesh government has issued guidelines to start new academic session in state universities. Classes for graduation first year will start from October 1st and that of post-graduation from November 1st. The government directed that the admission process for the graduation first year shall be completed by September 15th and for the postgraduate by October 31st. Online classes except for first year students shall start from August 4th. Our correspondent has filed this report.
A minimum of 45 days online studying will be ensured according to the syllabus, and after that, groups of students can be called for classes while maintaining the social distancing norms. Admission process for undergraduates and postgraduate students will be online and should be completed by 15th September and 31st October respectively. The examinations of 2020-21 academic sessions of the universities will be held in March and April next year. All universities have been asked to upload their educational calendar by 20th of July, and uploading of e-content of the syllabus will start from today and should be completed by 31st of this month. Due to the coronavirus pandemic, the educational calendar was affected badly and classes and examinations in all state universities have been delayed. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
Jammu and Kashmir government has issued guidelines for the arrival of tourists in the Union Territory. It has decided to open the tourism sector in a phased manner from tomorrow. In the first phase, tourism will be limited only to those arriving by air. The RT-PCR testing of all tourists on arrival has been made compulsory. The tourists also need to have confirmed hotel bookings before visiting the Union Territory. The proof of the same shall be checked on arrival. All tourists must have confirmed return air tickets also. Taxis or transport facilities need to be pre-booked via the hotel. J&K Tourism will provide a list of such hotels and travel agencies. Persons above the age of 65 should avoid coming on a tourism holiday. Till the RT-PCR test results show negative for COVID-19, the tourist will not be permitted to leave the hotel where the booking has been made. Test results usually arrive within 24 hours. If a tourist brings COVID-19 negative report from the point of their departure, they will not be required to remain isolated in their hotels. However, RT-PCR testing shall still take place. Tourists testing positive shall be sent to a medical facility as per protocol. All tourists should have the Arogya Setu app installed on their phones and shall be checked for safe status on the app at the time of arrival before entering the premises.
Gujarat has recorded 879 fresh COVID-19 cases during the last 24 hours. Total cases in the state have gone up to 41,897. Our correspondent reports that 13 patients lost their lives yesterday.
Total deaths due to COVID-19 have gone up to 2,047. Out of 879 new cases, maximum 205 cases have been reported from Surat city. Active cases in the state also crossed 10,000 marks. Out of total 10,661 active cases, the conditions of 67 patients are serious and they are on ventilator. 513 patients have been discharged after recovery during the last 24 hours. With this, the total patients recovered from the COVID-19 have gone up to 29,189. Meanwhile, Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation has added 14 new areas in micro-containment zones. Door-to-door surveillance and testing drives will begin in these areas from today. Yogesh Pandya, AR News, Ahmedabad.
As part of its efforts to ramp up testing facilities in the wake of a sharp rise in COVID cases, Maharashtra Chief Minister Uttar has inaugurated a COVID RT-PCR laboratory in Jalna city in Marathwada via video conferencing from Mumbai. He said that the state government has augmented various health facilities for people and also ramped up tracing and testing. More from our Mumbai correspondent.
Maharashtra Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray said that the government is planning to set up sample testing laboratories in all districts. While inaugurating a COVID RT-PCR laboratory in Jalna, he said that some places in the state have temporary facilities, but the government is planning to make them permanent. Public Health Minister Rajesh Tope said that the results of samples will now be available quickly through the BSL-3 type new laboratory. He added that the laboratory can also test HIV samples. He assured that plasma and antibody testing machines will also be made available soon. Latur district will be under lockdown from 15 to 38 July in the wake of rising COVID cases. Madhuri Pange, AIR News, Mumbai.
In Pradesh, the government will now run a Roko Toko, means stop and alert campaign for those who do not wear masks, as the use of masks is mandatory in all public places in the state. Now selected voluntary organizations will provide masks to the people who do not wear masks in public places and will charge an amount of ₹20 per mask from the concerned. A report.
In the guidelines issued by state government, it has been said that the collector will select voluntary organizations in the district for this work. The number of persons available, credibility and efficiency of the organization will be taken into consideration while making the selection. Collectors will make available suitable places to these organizations for the distribution of masks. The selected organizations will be provided 100 masks created under Jeevan Shakti Yojana on credit. On sale of the mask, the organizations will pay the concerned urban body at the rate of ₹11 per mask. Meanwhile, the COVID-19 case count in Madhya Pradesh climbed to 17,632 with addition of 431 new cases in the last 24 hours. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In our series Experts Speak on All India Radio, we bring you the views of the leading medical experts on COVID-19. Talking to AIR News, Dr. Nand Kumar, Professor of Psychiatry, AIIMS, suggested to the people to stay at home, spend time with the family members and practice yoga.
We are going to overcome this crisis within a few weeks. Stay at home, spend time with the family, do household work, exercise, listen to music, sing with the family, do yoga, meditation and take care of emotional need of the family.
Dr. Sanjay Pandey of Govind Ballabh Pant Hospital, Delhi spoke about the use of masks, saying it is important to wear them while stepping out of home.
मास्क की जरूरत उन इंसानों को है जिनको हेल्थ सेक्टर में अगर वो काम कर रहे हैं या उनका डायरेक्ट किसी कोरोना के मरीज के इलाज में या उनके क्वारंटाइन में उनकी भूमिका है। लेकिन अगर आप घर में रह रहे हैं
और स्वस्थ हैं और आपको किसी भी तरह की तकलीफ नहीं है, अभी फ्लू के लक्षण नहीं है, तो आपको मास्क पहनने की जरूरत नहीं है।
Participating in AIR live phone-in program on COVID-19, Dr. Anupam Prakash, Professor of Medicine at Lady Hardinge Medical College said, since the antigen test is of diagnostic nature, a positive result confirms the COVID infection, but a negative result requires further testing for infection.
एंटीजन टेस्टिंग जो है वो डायग्नोसिस के लिए इस्तेमाल होती है। हमें पता करना है कि कोरोना है ऐसे या नहीं। तो अगर वो पॉजिटिव आती है तो हमें उसके बाद आरटीपीसीआर टेस्टिंग की जरूरत नहीं है। ये एक रैपिड एंटीजन टेस्टिंग अपने में ही बहुत अच्छा टेस्ट है और ये हमें बता देता है अगर पॉजिटिव आता है कि कोरोना से हम ग्रस्त हैं। अगर ये नेगेटिव आती है तो इसका मतलब ये नहीं है कि कोरोना से हम ग्रस्त नहीं है, तो फिर हमें आरटीपीसीआर कराना पड़ेगा।
The News Services Division of All India Radio in its bilingual live phone-in program today will bring you a special discussion on COVID-19. Listeners can ask questions to the experts on toll-free telephone number 1-800-115767. You can also ask questions on telephone number 011-2331-4444 and post queries on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts by hashtag AskAIR. This can be heard tonight on FM Gold channel and additional frequencies from 9:30 p.m. onwards. This program will also be available on our website newsonair.com and on our YouTube channel News on AIR Official. You can also follow us on the News on AIR app for updates.
The Income Tax Department has facilitated a new functionality for banks and post offices through which they can ascertain the TDS applicability rates on cash withdrawals. Under it, the banks and post offices can ascertain the TDS applicability rates on cash withdrawals of above 20 lakh rupees in case of a non-filer of the income tax return and that of above 1 crore rupees in case of a filer of the income tax return. The Central Board of Direct Taxes (CBDT) said so far more than 53,000 verification requests have been executed successfully on this facility. Explaining the details of this facility, CBDT said that now the bank and post office has to only enter the PAN of the person who is withdrawing cash for ascertaining the applicable rate of TDS. 2 aides of slain Uttar Pradesh gangster Vikas Dubey were remanded in judicial custody for 14 days by a court in Thane, Maharashtra. An official yesterday said that they were held by Maharashtra Anti-Terrorism Squad from Dhokali area of Thane. First-class judicial magistrate R.H. Jha remanded them in judicial custody for 14 days. After a precautionary coronavirus test, the duo has been shifted to Taloja jail.
Veteran Gujarati journalist, columnist, writer and political analyst Nagin Das Sanghvi passed away in Surat yesterday. He was 100 and suffering from acute asthma. Mr. Sanghvi was conferred Padma Shri Award in the year 2019. He was in teaching career at Bhavans College Andheri from 1951 to 1980. Later he moved to Ruparel College, Mahim and Mithibai College, Vileparle for teaching political science. He'd written many books on Mahatma Gandhi, Gujarat and other subjects. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief on the demise of Sanghvi. In a tweet, Mr. Modi said, his articles and books gave an understanding of history and philosophy, and he had an extraordinary ability to analyze political events. Gujarat Chief Minister Vijay Rupani has also expressed deep grief and sorrow on the demise of the veteran journalist.
In Assam, 13 lakh people are affected due to floods in 24 districts. New areas have been inundated due to the breach of river embankments. Several rivers are flowing over the danger level. 70 persons lost their lives due to floods and landslides so far in the state. Chief Minister Sarbanand Sonowal instructed his ministerial colleagues, MPs and MLAs to visit the flood-affected areas and to take stock of the rescue and relief works. He also told deputy commissioners to deploy SDRF and NDRF teams in rescue and relief efforts. 21,000 people are staying at the relief camps. The Chief Executive Officer of the Assam State Disaster Management Authority, M.S. Manivannan, told AIR that rescue and relief works are being carried out in the affected areas.
175,000 hectares crop area is affected. The number of persons rescued so far from the floods, 39,750. 56. More than 14 lakh poultry affected and 17 lakh 77,000 animals were also affected, and the relief operations are going on. The NDRF and SDRF teams are rescuing the people. The NDRF is pre-positioned in 8 districts of Assam, and 40 SDRF teams are also placed in the respective districts. Wherever rescue operations are required, these people are engaged. COVID norms are also followed in the relief camps.
India Meteorological Department IMD has said that the enhanced rainfall activity due to active southwest monsoon is expected to continue till today over northeast India, Bihar, West Bengal and East Uttar Pradesh. Talking to AIR News, Director General IMD Mrityunjay Mohapatra said the central India, especially Madhya Pradesh, Chhattisgarh and Odisha, which are witnessing less rainfall, will now experience heavy rainfall from today.
हमारा ये उम्मीद है कि बिहार, आसाम और मेघालय और साउथ हिमालयन, वेस्ट बंगाल, सिक्किम में हेवी टू वेरी हेवी रेनफॉल होने के साथ साथ आइसोलेटेड प्लेसेस में एक्सट्रीमली हेवी रेनफॉल हो सकता है और इसके बाद रेनफॉल इंटेंसिटी कम होता रहेगा, क्योंकि हमारा उम्मीद है कि जो मानसून ट्रॉप जो फुटिल्स में है, जिसकी वजह से ऐसी हेवी ट्रेंड चल रहा है, वो मानसून ट्रॉप धीरे धीरे साउथ की तरफ शिफ्ट होगा। तो 13 तारीख से धीरे धीरे जो सेंट्रल इंडिया में बारिश कम हुआ है, वहाँ से बारिश बढ़ने लगेगा।
Now let us take a look at today's weather update. The national capital Delhi may witness generally cloudy sky with light rain or drizzle. The minimum temperature was recorded at 24 degrees Celsius, while the maximum is expected to be around 36 degrees. Mumbai is expected to have a generally cloudy sky with moderate rain. The city witnessed a minimum temperature of 26 degrees Celsius and will have a maximum of around 34 degrees. In Chennai, the temperature will hover between 26 and 37 degrees Celsius. The city will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. Kolkata will have partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers with a minimum temperature of 27 degrees Celsius. The maximum temperature will be nearly 35 degrees. In Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature was 23 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while maximum will be around 36 degrees. The city is likely to have mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. In Srinagar, the temperature will hover between 16 and 31 degrees Celsius. The city is expected to witness partly cloudy sky, with possibility of rain or thunderstorm or dust storm. In Gilgit, the minimum temperature was recorded at 18 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 32 degrees. The city may witness thunderstorm with rain. Muzaffarabad may see mainly clear sky, becoming partly cloudy towards afternoon or evening. The place witnessed a minimum temperature of 19 degrees Celsius, while maximum temperature will be around 36 degrees. Chandigarh will see a generally cloudy sky. The minimum temperature was recorded at 23 degrees Celsius and the maximum temperature will be around 36 degrees. West Indies won the first international cricket match since the sport's return after the coronavirus outbreak, beating hosts England in a thrilling first test at an empty AGS Bowl Stadium last night. The second test starts Thursday in Manchester.
And now an overview of today's newspapers. Rajasthan government in crisis as pilot leads rebels out, states the headline in Hindustan Times. The Times of India terms it as a desert storm. However, the Pioneer quotes the Congress as claiming that the Rajasthan crisis is over for now after the CLP meeting. On the coronavirus pandemic, the Asian Age headline reads 28,637 new cases, 551 more deaths in 24 hours, a record. Stock market rally takes valuations to pre-COVID levels is the top news in Business Line. The top news in The Hindu quotes Indian officials are saying that China's moves along the LAC were likely planned for months and followed new mobilization order by Xi Jinping. UP sets up judicial panel to probe the killing of Dubey aides, writes The Hindu. The Times of India reports that the cop who was dubbed Dubey's mole fears he might be killed, seeks Supreme Court help. And finally, the Pioneer headline reads, Trump wears mask months after mocking its need. POTUS masked at last, writes the Hindustan Times.
And now before we end the bulletin, the headlines once again. Ashok Gehlot-led Congress government in Rajasthan plunges into crisis after Deputy Chief Minister Sachin Pilot declares open rebellion. Home Minister Amit Shah praises security forces for their efforts to fight COVID-19 in the country. Uttar Pradesh government issues guidelines to start next academic session in state universities. Undergraduate classes to begin from October 1st. Jammu and Kashmir government issues guidelines for arrival of tourists in the Union Territory. Tourism sector to open in phased manner from tomorrow. And Income Tax Department launches tool for banks to ascertain TDS applicability rates on cash withdrawals. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com. And with that, we end the morning news. Have a nice day.